On this episode of Inside the Blueprint, a company using a unique business model to provide energy, plus new updates in concrete block production, beautiful wood veneer products that are virtually indestructible, a cleaner, safer way to travel in elevators. We'll meet a company with facilities in Thailand that can create pieces for many of the most popular shoe brands. Plus, lots more. The move to a greener world has been a top priority over the last few years. With new options always hitting the market, it's important to choose the right energy option for your company.
Natural gas is actually the cleanest form of energy generation, aside from renewables like wind and solar, obviously. But the problem there is it's physically impossible to produce all the U.S.'s energy needs just with renewables. So natural gas has to be that bridge fuel to get us from where we are now to where we want to be in the future with a carbon-free grid.
Secure Source Energy will fund, design, build, and operate tri-generation systems that help your property save money and reduce your carbon footprint.
Here at Secure Source Energy, we specialize in distributed generation, with emphasis on cogeneration and tri-generation. Essentially, what we do is we burn a single input fuel, in most cases natural gas, and we generate electricity, thermal energy, and/or cooling. Our model is somewhat unique in that we fund, design, construct, own, operate, and maintain all of our projects for the client. One of the goals here at Secure Source was to streamline what we call the onboarding process with our clients. After initial contact, the first thing we do is we ask them for copies of 1 to 3 years of their utility bills. That can be done via access to their utility portal, which is the way we usually do it. We developed a very sophisticated piece of software here where we put in those bills, we put in a lot of the information on the building. At such time, we get what we call the first glance or the case study. If it passes or if it clears a certain hurdle, then we'll go out over about a 2-hour period. We'll walk the facility, understanding the systems, the tenants, the use of the property or building, and then we put that into the software.
There are cogeneration companies across the country that will design and build a generation plant for you, or a combined heat and power plant, or even a combined cooling, heating, and power plant like we do. However, we're the only one in the U.S. that will completely fund that operation. We make our revenue streams come from the electricity that we produce and sell to the building, the hot water that we produce and sell to the building, and the chilled water. And we're going to sell that to the building at a cheaper price than they can either produce it themselves or buy it from a utility.
Because of the shift to a cleaner, greener world, large cities like New York are enacting laws that require buildings to reduce their carbon emissions significantly in the next couple decades.
Local Law 97, I call it a landmark carbon reduction law legislation. What it does is it benchmarks every building over 25,000 square feet in New York City and sets a threshold. Starting in 2025, that threshold, if you are above that in carbon, if your carbon footprint is above that, you pay a penalty. That penalty is paid yearly, and it is significant.
Electricity that we're producing on site has a much lower carbon footprint than the electricity off the grid. And the same thing goes for the heating aspect and the cooling aspect. Because we're capturing heat from our engines, we're not burning natural gas separately to make it, we're not using steam to make it. Those heating energy units have a much lower carbon footprint for the building. So their overall footprint is going to be reduced anywhere from 15 to 30, maybe even 35% in total. And that's a huge benefit for compliance for laws like Local Law 97 and those that are being anticipated in other areas of the country.
To learn more about Secure Source Energy or their efficient and affordable natural gas solutions, visit their website, securesourceenergy.com, or watch this segment again at InsideTheBlueprint.com. Our world is continuously moving towards more sustainable and more eco-friendly ways of living, and that includes the construction and building industries.
The construction and building industry account for 11% of the CO2 emissions in the city. And that's just from the equipment that's used, cement products that's used, which is a huge contributor to CO2 emissions in the country, not just in the city.
Concrete blocks, a lot of people might think that they're all the same, but they're really not. The design community is looking for a very specific product when they're calling for concrete blocks in their construction. And some of the different variables that can be taken into account are the compressive strength, how much load is being put on those blocks, are they being used for exterior use? Maybe there's a water repellent admixture that's put in there. There's a lot of different things that go into delivering the right block for the right project.
Glenwood Mason Supply Company distributes block, brick, mortar, and more to thousands of projects throughout the New York region. The concrete they manufacture is helping us move towards a greener future.
We offer a full range of products from little homeowner jobs, backyards, and pavers, and brick fronts to full gamut of high-rise and municipalities and schools and stadiums. We manufacture our own concrete block. We don't sell anything that we don't stand behind and back. Glenwood Mason predominantly serves the 5 boroughs. The only block manufacturer within the 5 boroughs.
So the primary ingredients in concrete block are cement, water, and aggregates. It could be a sand or screenings or larger stone pieces. So the first thing we do is we're going to take in all of those inputs from our various suppliers, and they'll make their way into large bins and hoppers and find their way into the mixer via conveyor belts, eventually make their way into the concrete block machine. We are really aware of the demand for different concrete products and the vast array of concrete projects that are taking place here in New York City. One of the things that we're doing right now is, and we're going to be producing all of our block with, is a carbon injection process called Carbon Cure. Carbon Cure takes pressurized CO2, carbon dioxide, comes to Glenwood in a pressurized vessel in liquid form, is released into our concrete mix design in the mixer in a gaseous form, and then goes through a mineralization process when it's being mixed in the mixer with the cement and the calcium hydroxide mix action that's going on there. So the gas on a molecular level becomes a solid and binds into the concrete. So those are some of the things that we're doing right now to really separate ourselves from the rest of the block market. And Glenwood Mason Supply Company is the only company in New York, at the very least, that is using that type of technology.
It's all about relationships in the masonry world, and Glenwood has been a trusted source for builders, masons, the design community, and homeowners. To learn more about Glenwood Mason and their sustainable concrete block production, visit their website, glenwoodmason.com, or watch this segment again at InsideTheBlueprint.com. Designing spaces using wood panels can change the look and feel of interior environments. Plus, their benefits can dramatically help with acoustics, durability, and more.
Originally, wood was much more expensive. Today, which limited its access to the average person, average consumer. And it wasn't as durable either at the same time. So now, with science in wood, we create products that are reasonably priced and much more durable. All our products will carry all third-party testing for scratch resistant, chemical resistant. You can actually clean up products with 000 steel wool, which adds a new benefit for the average homeowner. We're probably about 30% less than the average wood pricing today. Everything's also about what's in favor for the time. Right now, wood is a very hot item. People want to use wood because it's comfortable. You feel you're around nature. You feel warm. You know, so maybe they don't want to put wood all over their home. Maybe they want to do one accent wall in a room, or they want to do a wood kitchen instead of a Formica kitchen to get that warmth out of it.
Located in New York, KD Wood Products manufactures hundreds of different wood panel options, giving you choices of color, texture, and look.
You know, KD Wood Products, we started out as just a panel company making 1/8-inch panels that attach to furniture or walls. We've since then designed that to be much more. Now we manufacture ceiling components, acoustical ceiling components, slot ceilings, we do furniture panels for furniture, we do doors. We're right now the only manufacturer in the world that can supply every trade on a construction project with exactly the same colored dye-lot wood too. From the doors to the ceilings to the furnitures to the floors and walls. All of our products are UV coated. What that means is, if you wanted to talk about that in a more of a layman's terms, you go to the dentist, he fills your tooth and he shoots it with an ultraviolet light and hardens in seconds. That's our finishes, the same thing. Goes to an we have poured finishes, and then it goes to an ultraviolet light machine and cures them instantly and makes it the hardest finish in the industry. It's moisture resistant. Any wood finish you have today, except for most of UV cure finishes and ours, no matter what you do, if you leave water sitting on a table, come back a couple of days, the water's gone, it went into the wood finish. This product does not have that, does not do that. It's completely moisture resistant, chemical resistant, scratch resistant, and water resistant for many kinds of chemicals, even pretty much paint remover.
From 1/2 and 3/4-inch panels to peel and stick veneer, KD Wood Products has options for all commercial and residential products.
We have some cool residential products. Our new line is our peel and stick product. For the homeowner to do, they just peel the back off and stick it on their cabinet. So if you have a vanity that's 30 years old in your bathroom and say, you know what, I can't afford a new vanity, or I don't want to spend the money, and you're a little handy, you could take our wood products and you could go right over the vanity you have there and make it look like walnuts. You could change from mica into walnut. 240 different species and colors, and we also do custom matching. So if you're a designer, you're an architect, or you have a large project, you have a hotel project, and you want to buy 1,000 sheets of material, we'll make it any color you want and go back and forth with samples for approvals. We pretty much have it all.
To learn more about KD Wood Products, visit their website, kdpanels.com, or watch this segment again at InsideTheBlueprint.com. Almost every building in New York City has one. Both safety and cleanliness have never been more important in them. We're talking about elevators.
Is paramount in the elevator industry. Everything that we do has to ensure transportation of the riders that move in elevators every single day. In fact, it's often been said that riding in an elevator is better than riding in a New York City cab. So for the entire history of the elevator industry has been a #1 priority. Cleanliness has become an increased priority for elevator companies and the companies that service elevators, driven in large part by the recent global pandemic, which has really driven all of us to think a lot more closely about the spaces that we're in and the cleanliness and quality of the air within them.
When it comes to elevators, Vantage Elevator Solutions is the leader in innovative elevator equipment.
We operate 8 different unique brands, including our largest companies called GAL Manufacturing, Hollister Whitney, and GAL Canada, and employ over 900 people across North America. Today we sell almost 90% of the products that go into a modern elevator system and are continually focused on innovation and pushing the industry forward. Our company has over a 100-year legacy in the elevator industry, and really that legacy is built around developing new products and new innovations that keep the elevators more efficient for transportation. Many of the modern components found in an elevator were designed and engineered and really developed here at Vantage.
CleanCap with Active Pure technology is a device that basically cleans the air and sanitizes the air in an elevator. Not just the air, but also surfaces, right? In the case of CleanCap, you're not really only taking care of the air inside the elevator, but you're also taking care of the surfaces on the elevator itself. Active Pure technology itself takes water and oxygen from the air, passes it through this honeycomb matrix that is patented, and then it forces these oxidizers in the air, and that basically eliminates and neutralizes viruses such the novel coronavirus that causes COVID-19, some of the viruses that causes swine flu and avian bird flu. It is also used at Cleveland Medical Clinic, YMCA, Dunkin' Donuts. So it's also used in several national sports teams.
At this point, there are no standardized regulations in North America for air quality and cleanliness inside of an elevator. But this is something that we at Vantage, as well as our other colleagues and peers in the industry, are actively pushing forward to ensure that every elevator across North America is to ride in.
To learn more about Vantage Elevator Solutions or the Clean Cab by Gal featuring Active Pure technology product, visit their website vantageelevation.com and gal.com/cleancab, or watch this segment again at insidetheblueprint.com. Manufacturing thermoplastic elastomers is a complicated process, and these components can be found in so many different industries, like the automotive, medical, construction field, and more.
Plastics are used in everyday life. I don't think the general consumer realizes how much they come in contact with plastics, from consumer goods to packaging to automotive. When you fly, there are plastics and thermoplastics in our everyday life. So our thermoplastic box toes and heel counters are a critical piece of shoemaking. When the manufacturers are producing footwear, they need some materials in the forepart of the shoe and the back of the shoe to form those parts of the shoe. Without that, you're basically going to have a shoe that doesn't fit well. And with superior products like ours, you're going to have better shape retention, resiliency, so during wear, it's going to hold the foot better in the shoe.
Since 1948, Stanbee has been developing thermoplastic elastomers for many well-known companies.
Stanbee, we're over 70 years old. We were founded in 1948 by my grandfather and my uncle. So we produce products for Nike, Under Armour, Skechers, Converse, Reebok, Adidas, footwear, Rocky brands, Red Wing, Wolverine Worldwide, to name a few. We developed a product or a product range that is lighter and thinner and stronger versus what we know in our industry. It is also very sustainable. Our products today we use 50 to 60% recycled content. And the real beauty of what we do is we digitally cut our components for our customers. And it being all plastic, we're able to easily chip the unused material, or what we call the skeletal remains of the sheet, and re-extrude it. So it is completely 100% waste-free.
With their facility in Thailand, Stanbee can continue their commitment to sustainability while still being cost-effective.
We have a managing director named Pakun, or as we call her, Kun Pakun, and she runs our facility, and she is my superhero. She comes up with creative ideas to keep the employees engaged, keep a very light working atmosphere. And one of the things they did is they decided to use any piece of free land at our facility that they could find and grow produce. And the employees get to benefit from this. They take shifts on who gets what, and they bring it home to cook for their meals and their families.
To learn more about Stanbee and their manufacturing abilities, visit their website, stanbee.com, or watch this segment again at insidetheblueprint.com. We're living in a digital age, and it's time companies start improving their workflow. We'll take a look at companies that are helping to digitize the workplace to unlock productivity and expand your digital footprint.
It's clear we're in an unprecedented time right now. All businesses are thinking through the future of work. For those that are successful in the pivot to the future of work, will be the ones that not only survive in this unique time, but will thrive. You know, for most companies today, they weren't ready for the shift to a full remote workforce. So you need to create digital workflows so that anyone working anywhere has a way to productively and quickly do their job. One of the challenges with a millennial workforce is they're very, very accustomed to working with applications. So those applications are very user-friendly, very interconnected. So right now, the best chance of success is moving that into the workplace.
Jeff Giovinazzo developed Pathways Consulting Group to help enterprises all over the country invest in the best digital transformations. Because of their partnership with ServiceNow, Pathways is at the forefront of digital transformation.
I worked at a lot of software companies, good software companies, but I was frustrated by the way they treated their customers. I started Pathways because I believe customers deserve the successful outcomes they signed up for, along with excellent customer service along the way.
ServiceNow is a platform that was created to help enterprises automate their work so that employees are able to work seamlessly through the digital landscape.
So we think of workflow as a verb, right? You can workflow anything. So ServiceNow and what we've been able to do even during current events, it's all about the workflow, right? It's automating workflow, digitizing the work environment to create a better experience for your customers and your employees. ServiceNow has become the standard platform for large enterprises around the globe. If you look at the Global 2000, today, about 51% of the Global 2000s operate on ServiceNow and have created it as a standard within their organization across all lines of business.
Let Pathways and ServiceNow help your company work smarter and faster.
We're very excited about our partnership with ServiceNow. It's what we do, it's all we do. We've spent over 10 years perfecting a methodology to help clients maximize that investment in ServiceNow.
When we think about the future of work, we think about delivering great customer outcomes. We think about delivering great customer experiences. We do that by leveraging our broad ecosystem across all industries and all departments within an enterprise. Our mission is to make the world of work better for people. And if you think about that, 10 years ago, IT was a support function within the business. IT now is the business. Companies need to digitally transform, and the only way to do that is to be able to create great experiences and great outcomes for their customers and their employees. Our partnership with Pathways goes back 10 years to when we were just an ITSM company, and has evolved over the years where they're now delivering successful deployments across the platform, across industry. They also have a customer satisfaction rating 5 out of 5, which is unprecedented.
To learn more about Pathways Consulting, visit their website, pathwayscg.com, or watch this segment again on InsideTheBlueprint.com. The pharmaceutical world is filled with tons of medicine options, from gel capsules to chewables, brand names to generics. It's estimated that between 85 and 90% of all prescriptions filled in the U.S. are done with generic drugs. How are these developed, and where do they come from, and how do you know what to choose? Let's find out.
I think that the biggest misperception of the brand name of generic drug is the fact that people think the quality is not as good. And by FDA's regulations and following the regulations, and they're very strict, the guidelines, that the drug has to be proven safe and effective and equivalent, bioequivalent to that of the brand name drug. The generic drugs are manufactured following the same regulatory standards that the FDA has set. They're manufactured in facilities that the FDA inspects, following good manufacturing practices, what we call GMPs. Generic drugs are less expensive because, quite frankly, they're not as expensive to develop.
Bayshore Pharmaceuticals are manufacturing experts in this field. Bayshore's manufacturing partners' facilities can develop and create quality-driven, generic, FDA-approved prescription drug products at competitive pricing.
Well, Bayshore Pharmaceuticals started in 2011 as what's known as a virtual company, in that we didn't have any bricks and mortar, any manufacturing. We almost are a project manager. We would select the products that we want to bring to the market. We now have evolved. The business itself has become increasingly competitive. There's more and more companies doing it. They're coming from everywhere around the world for the same piece of business. And we recognize the fact that we would have to have some control over our manufacturing and supply. We have a very good understanding of manufacturing. I think a lot of the companies that started in this business, in this virtual model, were sales and marketing companies. So they might have known the front end of the business, but we understand manufacturing.
Environmental regulations have made it incredibly difficult to manufacture APIs in the U.S. In fact, almost 40% of new generic drugs that are approved come from manufacturing plants in India.
Our customers want lower prices, the general public wants lower prices, the government wants lower prices, and that's hard to do with making product here in the United States. So what we do is we try to work with companies that are vertically integrated, meaning they not only manufacture the drug product, but they manufacture the tablet as well. In 2018, we formed a collaboration with a company in India called IPCA Laboratories. IPCA took a stake in Bayshore, and that, going forward, that will allow us to have some control over our own manufacturing, because they are one of the world's largest producers of active pharmaceutical ingredients and the finished dose. So we will have a better, more visibility into their scheduling, their development, their manufacturing, and throughout the whole supply chain. We were the first company to market and distribute FDA-approved products coming out of Bangladesh. We work with a company called Bayshore Pharmaceuticals, and we're very proud and honored that they chose to work with us, and I think we've done a pretty good job for them. But that's an example of our global reach. We're not just here in the United States. If you ask people 5 or 10 years ago, would you envision having FDA-approved pharmaceuticals out of Bangladesh? There probably would have been a lot of skepticism, but we, together with Bayshore, we now offer a low-cost generic alternative from a region of the world that a while ago would have been unheard of. It's economics at this point, and quite frankly, until we see an acceptance of maybe a premium for products having to be made in the U.S. because it costs more, labor costs cost more, obviously. Until people are willing to pay a little bit more, the trend of overseas manufacturers, it's going to continue. It's the only way to sustain.
To learn more about generic medications available from Bayshore Pharmaceuticals, visit their website, BayshoreUS.com, or see this segment again at InsideTheBlueprint.com. Thanks for watching Inside the Blueprint. For more information on any of the products you saw today, or to find out how to become part of the show, please visit InsideTheBlueprint.com.